This is Michael Tucker, and you're watching the new Legends on Deck podcast with host Brian Koss and David Condi.
We take a little pride and we put a lot of effort into what we do.
So more kids can actually experience what Billy and I had the wonderful opportunity to experience at the big league level.
They call it the Ripken experience, and I'm telling you what, man, this is an experience.
If I were kids right now, I'd be getting excited to get down there. The fields are immaculate. Bring your A game. Can't wait to watch it.
I'm excited to play on some of these fields. They are world-class facilities, all turf fields. It's fun to be a part of this.
Imagine playing on one of those things as a kid.
Oh, that's amazing.
There's a lot of excitement here from the kids.
To all the parents out there, I highly recommend the Ripken experience.
They do an amazing job.
This is an experience like none other.
We know you're going to have a good time.
And that's what the Ripken experience is all about.
Welcome to episode 42 of the Legends on Deck podcast. I'm Brian Koss, along with my co-host David Condi. And our guest today is Ashley Gerhart. She is with Ripken Baseball as a national sales account executive. And we're going to hear all about that side of the game from Ashley this morning. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You bet.
So before we I always start to notice things as we get started. So I notice Brian. Brian is all decked out, and I always watch what he wears. So he always has something different on. So he has, and we'll talk more about where they can find our stuff later. But that shirt actually is made different in a different place. I make them for my guys, but that's our polo, official polo. And I came on with the shirt, but I was like, wow, I haven't seen that one in a while. So I actually like that logo.
I like that.
It looks a lot different.
Well, I like it too.
So actually, all our guests come on. We always want to know the background. We want to know kind of where you started, what brought you to the game of baseball, softball. What was your mind? You know, who kind of brought that to you, put the love in it, and then how you got started in the role you're in right now.
Yeah, definitely. So it's kind of funny because we'll kind of backtrack back to college, but after college, I graduated at Robert Morris University, played Division I softball there. And then after college, I was kind of like, what can I do? I wanted to work in sports, but I didn't know which path I wanted to take. So everyone kept saying, you should be a coach. You should be a coach. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll be a coach. So I started my first coaching gig at Lafayette College in Easton, Pennsylvania, which is a Division I school in the Patriot League. I was there for 1 year because I then wanted to get my master's. I wanted to be a graduate assistant. So Manhattanville College, which is a Division III school in the New York City area, they had an opening. I had a connection with that. My assistant coach knew the head coach. Was not sure about, I was never in the Division III atmosphere or environment. And let me tell you, Dale Martin, the guy who ran it, he ran it like a Division I Power 5 program. And I appreciated that and I respected that. And they were extremely talented. So I was there for 2 years. In my 2 years there, we actually won 2 conference tournaments, made it to regionals. And then unfortunately, it is only a 2-year role. So I did want to continue coaching. So I actually ended up back at Lafayette College, where, Division I again, back in the Patriot League, and COVID hit. So I had basically a half year there. And then I actually was there just until this past August. And with that said, I still love coaching. I still love softball. It was just something I wanted something a little different, but I wanted to stay in sports. And when I was just looking online, I saw the Ripken position and my eyes lit up. I looked at it. I looked at everything that it required, everything that it entailed, and it was my dream job, and it still is today. So honestly, I really, like, when I saw the posting, I was like, I need this job. Like, this is something I'm going to love. So how I got started working there was I was just browsing, and when I saw the Ripken job, first of all, I knew about Ripken Baseball. I actually played in the spring training league down there, which was amazing. It was an amazing experience. So it was a time for me it's full circle. It was a time for me to be able to do and then give back to what I got when I was playing too.
So for some of the followers that don't know, I mean, obviously there's two sides of Ripken Baseball. You have the Cal Ripken, which is considered with the youth baseball leagues and everything that merges somehow with the Babe Ruth, how they merge that together. And then you have the Ripken Baseball side. Kind of explain what exactly does Ripken Baseball entail? What does that, what is that all about?
Yeah. So it is different. So that's more of a league. This is a tournament vendor. So from the Ripken experience side of things, we offer different tournaments. So I handle the week-long tournaments, but also the weekend tournaments. But we offer week-long tournaments, which would be like your World Series. We offer our weekend tournaments, which would be more of your 3 and 5 game. We also do, like I participated in, is spring training baseball and softball. And then also too, there are different things now, like the All Ripken games, which is more of an individual based system where you get nominated, you go into the system, and then you're in the All Ripken games. It's basically like an all-star weekend for these players and for these kids to show their skills from an individual side of things, as opposed to our week long, and weekends are more of a team event. And I'll kind of go into why the Ripken experience is unique, but we offer so many different things for these players and youth athletes, which, as a youth player, like, I felt like every time I stepped on the field, like I was a big leaguer. I was going to be the first big league female player. Obviously I'm not, but I could still keep dreaming.
So I do want to ask, who participates in these tournaments? I mean, are they part of the, once again, I'm in the mindset of Cal Ripken Baseball, Babe Ruth. Is that part of these travel ball teams? Are these more like a travel ball tournaments? Like, who's involved in these tournaments?
Totally. Yeah. So that's a great question. Yeah. So we are an open registration. We have an open registration policy. So any team from anywhere can participate. We offer different age groups. I believe 9U is our youngest, whether that be from the weekend or week long side of things. And then that goes all the way up until about 16U. Actually, there are some 18U. So honestly, from like the time you start playing baseball until the time you're done and you're in high school and you go off into college, like, we offer that. And then we do even offer like college programs where college players do come down in the summers and participate in the college league for a few months out of the summer. That's something I don't handle from like that side of the business, but we do offer different things from the college side. From the week-long experiences, from what I offer is a like I said, 9 to about 16U, and it, like I said, open registration. So if it's something that you see your team wanting to participate in, like a World Series event, I always suggest, like, the Ripken experience is unmatched, and it really brings these athletes, they're able to be themselves when the second they step foot on the field. You're going to be in like that big league atmosphere, but you're really feeling like, all right, I feel like myself and I can flourish in this environment. So
My understanding is that this is more for teams that are travel ball setting, not maybe from the league. Maybe in all. Is it different from the all-stars that will come out of the leagues that are out there? This is just separate travel teams, maybe?
We actually have just like township teams that come as well. So like, for example, like I work different territories around the country, and I've had a lot of just youth township teams that are, they only play like their township team, but they all want to go somewhere afterwards, like to basically celebrate the season. So with that said, a lot of them are travel ball teams. They're not all travel ball teams. We offer, like I said, with the open registration, like, if you have a team and you have the participants that want to experience what we offer, then we do allow any teams. Like we've had teams that are like strictly just in their township. We've had teams that are in their township, but they also travel maybe like outside of like their state briefly, and then they go into one of our experiences. So anyone can attend, and that's how we make it like that family friendly environment for all of our teams, all of our coaches, and then the families as well.
So where exactly are the locations that the tournaments are taking place? Is it all over the country, spread out, or is it more centralized?
Yeah, so we actually, so Aberdeen, Maryland is where the first facility started, and that's where Cal and Bill Ripken are from. So Aberdeen, Maryland, and then we had Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Awesome experience. I participated that when I was a kid. So once again, full circle. And then we move on to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And then, so we had those experiences for a few years running, up and running. And then recently we opened Elizabethtown, Kentucky, which is now our newest one. We're about a year in now from owning that. And then most recently this fall into like the winter, we just put our way into Cooperstown All-Star Village. Now Cooperstown All-Star Village is slightly different than what the Ripken experience, like facilities kind of handle. For example, they're only 12U. We offer different age groups and they only offer week-long experiences, while the Ripken experience has different types of events, whether it be like the weekend experience or the week-long experiences. And then most recently, we just opened up Sandusky, Ohio at the Sports Force Park. Yeah, that just came official about a month ago. So that'll be our newest facility. We haven't ran any of our specific tournaments there yet, but moving into the fall of 2023, 2024, we're looking to completely expand Sports Force Park into a Ripken facility.
Wow, that is a lot going on. that is more than I think I ever heard about. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I guess too, to add with our week-long experiences, since that's something that I do day in and day out, are the week-long experiences or the World Series events, as people would call them. We do Ripken Select tournaments, which that would mean each year it's a select location. So for example, in 2023, we are hosting 2 week-long tournaments. So one in Panama City Beach and then one in Round Rock, Texas. So we don't necessarily like own those facilities, but we rent them out for the week. That way we could host week-long experiences in different locations. 2024 is not set in stone yet, but those are strictly for week-longs. We don't do the weekends there. So looking forward to what 2024 will bring for our Ripken Select tournaments.
Well, I mean, we have a big baseball area here in Fort Myers, as well as Brian has up in Orlando. So feel free to bring it this way.
Yeah,
I'm sure we can help you get in contact with a lot of kids over here.
Well, I'm hearing about some of the locations. So I know what sounds interesting to me is that, so you're going into Sandusky, Ohio, which some people may or may not know is Cedar Point, which is an amusement park. For those of us that grew up in the Midwest, that was like our main amusement park. And then you have Pigeon Forge, which is Dollywood. And then you have Cooperstown. So you got the Baseball Hall of Fame. So it seems like there's a lot of strategy that probably went into, identifying locations that would be great for baseball facilities as well. Is that true?
Yeah, you honestly hit the nail on the head. That's perfect, because now I don't, the people that do it, they do a lot of research. It takes years for them. I'm not involved in it. I wish I was, because I think it's very cool on how they do it and very strategic. And completely right. So as you mentioned, like even like Myrtle Beach,
Myrtle Beach too. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, like even like Myrtle Beach, like how it makes it like so unique is like, with Pigeon Forge, you have the Dollywood. So like that amusement park. In Myrtle Beach, you have like Broadway at the beach. You obviously have the beach. It's kind of funny when people ask like, well, what's your favorite location? It really just depends. Like I'm a beach person. So like I love the Myrtle Beach area. People love Pigeon Forge because of the mountains. Cooperstown, I mean, it's just historic. I actually was just there this past weekend. Like, being able to be in that environment makes it so unique. Having the Cooperstown Hall of Fame, just miles down the road. And same thing, like kind of similar, like being in the mountains too. There's so many things to do there. Like they have a little small town, and it's just like historic. And stepping on that field and stepping on the facility just like makes it unique. I'm 29 years old, and the second I stepped foot, I felt like I was back in like the 12-year-old shoe of like playing the game, and like my eyes just like lit up with everything going on. So they are very strategic on like how they find their facilities. And with like Pigeon Forge and Myrtle Beach and Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and Aberdeen, like, Aberdeen makes it extremely unique because we do offer like that Cal Senior Yard, which is basically the Major League Baseball stadium type deal, and everyone wants to play on that. And same thing. I've been to that facility, and the second I step foot on that field, like my eyes lit up. Like I played Division I softball, and it's just like brings me back to like that feeling of being a kid again. And that's what we want to offer is like you could be like a kid for like the rest of your life, like the second you step foot on our facilities, even as like the family members too. So with that kind of said, baseball, we're here to play baseball, but we also want to give our families the opportunity to do things outside of the baseball field. And that's why we make it like that family friendly environment. They're there for, this could be their vacation for the year. And we want to make the experience on the field great, but also off the field great.
Well, I think that right there, what you said was important, right? So, if you're in a situation where your kid is playing, competitive baseball at a, traveling sort of atmosphere, right? So you want to go to a place that that the family can enjoy. There you might be there for one kid, but you may have two or three, or in my case, 4 kids. But you want to give something else to the families to do at that location, not just sit and watch their kids' baseball games all day. Not that we don't love that too. That's why we're there, because we love it. But it makes sense to do that, and it really provides, like you said, it's an expense, tends to be an expensive trip if you're traveling across the country to go to a baseball tournament. But if you're able to give the families a vacation in addition to what they're doing, or they might be able to build their trip around it, I think that's first of all, it's a smart business decision, but also it's a really cool environment for families to be a part of.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, like I can't like stress it enough. Like the second you set foot in that field, like your eyes just light up, and you just like there's just like this rush of like energy that comes in. So that's something that it's unmatched.
Yeah, awesome.
So give me an idea. So I'm kind of looking at the site, looking at the packages. Give me an idea as to what's all entailed in it. I see one of the things I'm going to point out. I mean, there's 6-game minimum, 9-game max. There's a lot of baseball, which is pretty cool. You keep them going though within the tournament. Some tournaments, I guess. I mean, I'm not in the whole travel ball tournament world. I do more rec baseball, but I know that on the weekends they do play a lot of games. But you're looking at spreading this out, which is even better. And then you have here like MLB tournament ambassador and also entertainment package. Can you kind of go into what that entails in that package?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, like I said, like baseball, you're going to be there to play baseball. So we do have our tournaments besides Cooperstown. Cooperstown is a little different, but for our Ripken facilities, we offer tournaments that go for a week long, Sunday until Friday. So Sunday's more of like your opening day and skills competition. I would say like an all-star atmosphere, like your all-star game atmosphere. And then with that, as you highlighted, the MLB tournament ambassador, that also will be on that Sunday, just to like kick things off. And you can even see on our website, like Jim Tomei is talking to the coaches. So, when people ask like, oh, well, do coaches have to pay too? They do, because they also get, different types of experiences and different types of, items included in the package. So, for example, as you can see on our website, Jim Tomei was one of them one year. this past weekend or week, we had Reggie Sanders in Cooperstown, which for Cooperstown All-Star Village, that is brand new, because we're kind of trying to mirror what we do on our Ripken facilities to Cooperstown All-Star Village. I know this year I work this for the state of Illinois, and we're bringing on Jake Arrieta. We have a ton of big names that it really helps the coaches, meet and greet these tournament ambassadors, and it is a private Q&A for the coaches. And then later on, that tournament ambassador will speak to the crowd and say a few words. All of the teams, once the opening day ceremonies are up, which I think it's an awesome experience to hear from a former MLB player or a former MLB coach, just their experience and giving back to the game, I think is a big part of it. So with that said, I think it's a huge part of what we offer. Another thing is the players and coaches gifts. That changes every year, but you'll get some Ripken gear to go along with. People call it like a swag bag. You'll kind of get that going along with like the players and coaches gifts. The entertainment package, we kind of touched on that. We do offer like the best rates for our teams to be able to explore the area, whether it be Dollywood, mini golf around the specific areas. I'm sure all of our areas include mini golf somewhere. There's always mini golf. So water parks where you're at. So different things to let the families go to different places around the area at an affordable price. They are paying a lot to come here, and we want to give them the best experience possible. And then there's no parking or gate fees, anything like that. Like anyone can go watch. You could bring your grandmother, your mom, dad, sister, whatever. It's not like you're paying extra to bring multiple people, because once again, that family friendly environment is what we want to offer. And then, like I said about Cooperstown, I would say the biggest difference between the two, we're not a state of play, but when you go to Cooperstown All-Star Village, we have those bunk houses for the participants, which is something that Cooperstown All-Star Village has always experienced. As we're a little different, people do their own lodging and all of that. So a little different. And then from the Cooperstown All-Star Village, since that is one of our newest facilities, you're going to get something similar. It's actually going to be 7 games. You still get the opening day and skills competition. You still get like different like players gifts. So like the players and coaches gifts are more of like their uniforms, their polos, their hats. What else is there? The socks, like the BP jacket. They get a bunch of other things. MLB tournament.
I'm gonna come just for the swag.
Yeah, I know. You get a lot. Honestly, it's amazing. I can go on and on and on. And as I said in the beginning, like when I first saw it, I was like, this is my dream job. Like to this day, I'm like, this is my dream job. Like the Ripken experience, and now like Cooperstown All-Star Village, like we just offer so much for these families and these players and coaches, and everyone puts in so much like hard work to make their kids happy. We want their kids to be happy. So we want to do everything we can from start to finish. Like, I'm on their team to educate these families. And so if they have any questions, any concerns about like, what do we get in this? What is this? What is that? Like, I'm here to help, and I'm here to educate these families on, and coaches. Like I get coaches or team moms or team dads calling me, and I want to educate them and make them understand like what they're actually getting in this experience. And confidently, like this experience is unmatched. Like I keep saying it, but it really is. Like I can go on, and like I said, full circle. I've experienced it, and now I want to give back to, I want kids to be able to experience what I experienced as a kid, as it is a unforgettable, memorable experience that I had.
Well, you're the best spokesperson for it.
Yeah, no doubt.
You experience.
You've already sold us on it.
So basically, all you have to do is just talk about it, and everybody's like, "Well, we know she's not lying. She's been there, so this is gonna be great."
Yeah, no, it's funny because when I first started, like they're like, you got to go to the facilities and see it. Once you go, like you'll truly understand, because when you're there, I was in high school, middle school, so I was kind of just thinking about like, oh, let's go play baseball and softball, like, but like when you go now, like especially as like an adult and as a kid, like it's like completely elevated. So if you have kids, like it's something to look into. If you have whether it be like the All Ripken games or bringing your team down to a week-long experience.
Awesome.
For sure. So your role with the company, right? So your role, I'm assuming, has a lot to do with connecting these teams and these tournaments together.
That's correct. I do all of the locations around the area. We just have different territories where, I'm able to make that connection, which is great. And, just answer any questions they may have. Like, we want to be there every step of the way. And for me, that's important. I know, like, when I was coaching softball, like, I needed someone to answer to be able to educate me on, okay, we're going to this tournament, we're flying, we're doing this, like, we're coming from across the country, maybe, which we do have teams from all over, California, Florida, Texas, you name it, we have it, Nebraska. So it's just like yes, I'm like the point of contact person to educate these teams. And then the second that we educate these teams and they register, then we have a team coordinator who is on site at these facilities. So they really do a great job. Yeah, from start to finish, you're in great hands, because it really helps the experience when they know what's going on and they know, like, okay, what do I need to get done? So that's my main role is, there's a lot of things I do with the Ripken side of things. And I just, I want these kids to be able to experience what I got to experience.
So one question, and I guess it's on the mind, everyone's going to be listening and watching. Have you met Cal at all and Billy?
I have. Yeah, I have. They are great. They are great people, great speakers. Like, when they talk, like, super engaging. They actually do, they are tournament ambassadors at specific. So when we talk about tournament ambassadors, each week and each location will have a different tournament ambassador. Someone like Reggie Sanders, I think he went to like Cooperstown, but he lives in like the Myrtle Beach area. So he'll do a few weeks down there. I met Cal and Bill at our holiday party back in like December. And once again, like, great people, very personable. So, and like I said, being able to experience like a MLB tournament ambassador and having them is like, it's amazing. And they'll have a great time when they are their tournament ambassadors.
So
yeah,
we're gonna.
I think.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to make a comment. I was, with obviously Cal and Billy, the Ripken family has done a lot. They've created this whole business side of youth baseball, but I really think that he's just done an awesome. They have done both an awesome job to like sell the game, not just selling tournaments, but selling the game to young players. Like, there's very few ball players out there that are retired baseball players that do the level of, have the level of commitment to pushing baseball to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're very involved, which is like awesome to see. Like, when they walked into like our holiday event, like, it was like, wow, like, and they sat down talking to people, like, it was just like, it was amazing. And like, they're super involved, and they want to help any way that they can to, elevate the youth side of this sport. And then, from like the softball side, I'm sure we may talk about that, but maybe one day we will have like softball. That's what I'm optimistic about, but haven't heard anything fully about that. Just besides the All Ripken games, we do have softball.
Well, that's a good lead into my next question, because that's kind of what I wanted to ask you. So you talked a little bit about your experience in softball. Give us an idea of where exactly that start. And you said you played D1 softball. So kind of give us your experience in that. How awesome was that? Yeah.
So honestly, I actually played boys baseball until I was 13, almost 14 years old. Yeah, I had this dream that I was going to be a Major League Baseball player. But then I kind of, reality sunk in, and as I was hitting like a wooden bat the one day, and I was like, I don't know how much stronger I can get. I can't get stronger. But, that I decided, everyone kept saying like, you should start playing softball. I think you have a really good opportunity to be on the Division 1, 2, or 3 side. People are pushing 1, but I'm very thorough with people that 1, 2, or 3 or JUCOs, just as good as the rest. So I decided to switch over. I played a year of baseball and softball in the same summer, which was interesting. And so for my end, like, this sport has always been in my life. It has taught me so many things, as cliche as it is. Like, it is like a parallel to life. Like, the things you learn in the baseball and softball side of things, like, you keep bringing on. So that's why I did want to start off as like being a coach. So I did play at Robert Morris University. And it's funny because when I got there, like, I was like, oh, I might make an impact. And then my freshman year, I won like the Rookie of the Year, and I had no idea, the Rookie of the Year in the conference, and I had no idea like that was even a thing, or like I was even doing that well. I was just playing and hoping that we would win, and then kind of went on from there. And then 4 years had passed, and I still wanted to, like I said in the beginning, I wanted to stay in the sport, and then pass down what I did my whole life. And now that I'm in baseball, like, it's really easy for me to talk about like the Ripken experience, just because it's what I've done. And baseball has just been a huge part of my life, and it always will be. Like, baseball, softball always will be. And like I said, it has taught me so much about who I am today. And when I tell people about the Ripken experience, about being yourself and like being in like almost like a big leaguer's shoe. So it's like yourself and like a dream, and a good dream. So I always say, like, if I could do anything to help, get these baseball players on board. And then, with that being said, from the softball side of things, like, I'm optimistic that softball will be on the board for Ripken Baseball, and it will be one of our bigger events. Because we did just start with the All Ripken Games, as I mentioned earlier, an individual event, but it is, we do have a softball side of things with it. So I really think moving forward, my role in the company may be this right now, but maybe moving forward, it could be on the softball side of things, since I do have a pretty unique and experienced softball background, just from traveling around the country, coaching, playing, recruiting, whatever it may be. So, I can't say it enough. And baseball, softball has helped me be the person I am today, and helped me kind of fill into the Ripken baseball role, and try to, enhance their tournaments as much as I can too.
So Brian and I, like I said, we dove a lot into softball this year. We met the owner of the Florida Vibe, which is a professional softball team, and they have that. So, that's, if you had this is kind of a what if question, but if you had the opportunity coming out of your last year in college playing softball to go to a professional team, is that something you would have loved to have the opportunity to do?
So I try to leave. I always leave this out just because it was a very short stint. I did try out for the professional sports team in Pittsburgh. It was called, the Rebellion, the Pittsburgh Rebellion. It was in Washington County, PA, where the Baseball Frontier League played. And once again, everyone's like, you should go try out. You should go. And people must know like what's good for me, because, it was good for me. So basically, it was kind of unique. So when I was playing, we had like a college all-star game in the Western PA area, who would go and like play against the Rebellion team, just as like bring some fans in before the season, some local fans. So I was picked to do that. But before, they actually had like a tryout. You literally paid $50 and you tried out. And there were people from all over the country. I think there were maybe like 200 trying out for the Rebellion. So I'm looking around and I'm like, all right, all these Power 5 schools, we'll see how it goes. So I actually made it to, they broke it down to like the next group, like 75, and then the next group. Anyways, I ended up making it to the final 4 people. And they're like, we want you to play in this college all-star game, which I already was. And afterwards, they broke it down into like, I guess 4 people. Then 2 of them were pitchers, 2 were position players. But I unfortunately, I probably surprised myself and actually played the best I ever have. But I unfortunately didn't make it. I think they were looking for a pitcher, but I was proud coming out of there, because I saw like my capabilities, and I thought I did pretty well in college softball, like playing my 4 years. And then it was funny because I just wasn't thinking. I was just playing the game because I was like, well, I have nothing to lose. And it's funny that if you have like the right mindset and you're just kind of out there like playing how you should and not thinking too much about it. Like I was like, wait, I have this potential. So it definitely elevated myself. I didn't make the pro team, but I came out and I did my best. So I did consider it. I will say, unfortunately, like the pay, I wouldn't have done it for like the pay necessarily, but it would have been tough, but it would have been like for the summer. They unfortunately are no longer a professional softball team. And as you may have seen, like Athletes Unlimited has really taken off. So if you haven't checked out Athletes Unlimited, it's a kind of like their new like professional like softball platform, which is unique. And I feel like that's really taking off, along with hopefully professional softball moving forward.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this as we were talking, and we never discussed exactly where you grew up, but it sounds like you're from the Western Pennsylvania area.
Oh, yes. I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I lived in Pittsburgh my whole life, Pittsburgh, and then moved to the Lehigh Valley, Philly area, and then moved to the New York City area, and then back to the Philly area. My parents live in Fort Myers. They're like in the Cypress Lake area.
My backyard.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually go down to visit them. And now I'm in Southern California. We do work. I personally work remote for Ripken, so I live in the Southern California area now.
Okay. All over the place, but yeah. So I was thinking, I'm like, okay, I knew you lived in California, and I'm like, how did she go to? I didn't know if you grew up there because you were mentioning that you played in the Myrtle Beach tournament. I'm like, man, that's a long cross country trip. Not to say that teams probably do it, because I see California teams playing in some of these Florida tournaments too.
Yeah. So and they do. Yeah, they honestly, coaching college softball, they're from all over. Like they come from all over. So it's cool to see. And I will say, like, it's cool to play against teams that are from, like, I know as a kid I played against a team from Canada, and I was like, this is great. So yeah. Very
cool. Well, we really appreciate this whole story, actually, your personal story and just all the information about what Ripken Baseball is doing. Mm-hmm. Like I said before, we really haven't covered the youth tournament side of baseball on our podcast yet, so we really appreciate the opportunity to do that. Mm-hmm. We'll be sure, as we do with our guests, to share your information, share your company's information, and make sure that we can connect, we can help you and connect people to what you guys are doing over there, because it sounds pretty amazing. Yeah, no, definitely. It is great. So I appreciate that. You bet. So Dave, you want to plug sponsors here real quick?
Yes, just want to say once again, thank you, Easy Mortgage, for helping us to push this along. Episode 42. I mean, it's going by so fast. Seems like we're growing rapidly. DC3 Bat Company, they custom their gloves, their bats, their batting gloves. On another show, I was wearing one of the shirts, but if you go onto our merch page, you can definitely see our logos, that we have unique logos for our t-shirts. Actually, one of the hats right there that Brian loves our hats.
I love our hats. I wear our hats all over the place.
Yeah, I have LOD around behind me too.
I'm a hat guy, so
we try to custom make our stuff locally too, just so I can walk around and be a walking billboard for Legends on Deck. Hey,
that's right.
Everyone wears Nike and everything, and say, hey, just wear Legends on Deck. It's baseball too,
That's right.
But so thank you for our sponsors for helping us get this the podcast out.
Absolutely. So Ashley, thank you for your time and for being a very interesting guest for us for episode 42 of the Legends on Deck podcast. Thank you for having me on.